All right, welcome, fellow coder, to this next episode of the Coders Campus podcast. In this one, number 61, we're going to be talking to Kevin and how Kevin was able to make a transition, a big transition in his career from one that is dedicated to fashion over to one that will be dedicated to technology. So making the leap from fashion to technology is quite a jarring transition. So we're going to learn about how that's going for Kevin. And by the way, if you want to access all the show notes here and even be able to contact Kevin if you really resonate with him and his story, you want to visit the show notes page at coderscampus.com/61. That'll take you to that page. Now, having said that, we're also going to find out a little bit more about how his interest in something super simple like Microsoft Excel really fueled this transition and really made him think about, I'm getting pretty good at Excel and I'm a little better than everyone else I've ever talked to, so maybe there's something to this whole thing. Maybe I have some underlying talents. So we're going to find out how that has been going for Kevin. And we're also going to be finding out what his keys to success are, which are very important to understand and learn from if you're someone who is an aspiring coder, you're just getting started on this journey, or you're, trying to figure out how do I even get job ready, right? There are keys to your learning journey, and you're going to find out exactly what those are for Kevin and how he's been able to apply them with his journey through the coding bootcamp that he is doing. So there's going to be lots of great information. You'll be able to soak it all up, I'm sure. So without further ado, let's flip over and start talking to Kevin. Let us know who Kevin is. Let's get to know a little bit about your background, Kevin. Yeah, who were you before the bootcamp, I guess?
So yeah, my name's Kevin. I'm 37. I'm going back to the videos of you teaching, and you never know your age.
That's right. I never remember. Yeah.
And I think you were 37 too when you were teaching, when you were
I've been,
recording
yeah,
these
maybe
videos.
I've been
So
teaching
yeah,
since
exactly the
29,
same.
maybe.
I think I'm 37.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I am. I'm from France. I actually live in France, in the south of France. I studied in Canada, so I got ties to this country. I got friends there, and I learned English there, so it's kind of in my heart. And yeah, like I did a lot of things. I was in fashion. That's what I studied.
Hmm.
So fashion management. I did a bunch of things in fashion. I was a store manager, I was a visual merchandiser, and I moved to inventory. That was my last job in related to fashion because there was nothing much to do with fashion, but still. And I ran the inventory department for Europe for 4 years.
For Europe.
Yeah, Europe.
Europe
Well,
for whatever brand you were with.
South Europe for JD Sports, it's called. Now it's in Canada and in the US, I think. So yeah, I had like three people under me that were doing inventories all over Europe. I was doing inventories too. I had a company car and I
Hmm.
was working a lot, a lot, a lot. And I wasn't that happy. It wasn't the most fulfilling job ever, I guess. Tried to open my own store. I was planning on opening a cafe with a plant shop inside the last few years, right after COVID. Was a bit difficult, and I actually learned not too long ago that I dodged a big bullet because plant stores, they're all closing
Oh, wow. Okay.
in France. I think people are
Okay.
looking for something else, but plant stores are closing. Online plant stores are closing too. So I think I dodged the bullet there.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah,
you did some education schooling around fashion. You were dabbling
yeah.
in the fashion industry.
I
Yeah,
was a teacher
not
too.
teacher.
I
Oh,
was
okay.
I was a teacher and a DJ in Brazil.
Okay, lots of stuff. In Brazil. Okay.
In Brazil,
Lots of
yeah,
hats you were wearing.
I taught English and French over in Brazil. Had a lot of students, so I recognized a good teacher
There
for
you
sure.
go. So
Uh,
yeah, so hold on. So English, French, Brazil is
yeah,
Portuguese. What else
yeah.
do you have under your belt? Any other
I speak a little bit of Italian too,
and Italian. Okay,
because
wow. All right.
that's my dad's. So
Gotcha. Okay,
yeah,
so you're a multicultural man. Very good.
exactly.
So so then what got you interested in tech then? Why are you abandoning? You said it wasn't very fulfilling in
Yeah,
yeah. Why tech?
yeah.
Why coding?
There was in inventory management, you're a lot on your computer, so you're always on Excel. You have to deal with database, so I was dealing with SQL and
Hmm.
There's a bunch of things that are related to tech already. And I felt like maybe in my team, if there was any problem with Excel or with whatever system we're working on, people would come to me usually and be like, "Oh, you know that, you know Excel, you're the Excel genius or whatever." And I don't know, I've never had classes with for Excel, but I felt like that was kind of my thing. And I was like, why not do more? Why not see under the hood, maybe see how these things are built and maybe build one myself in the future? I don't know. I felt like all the things we're using in this company, it's a big company, a multinational, all the continents. I felt like the software we're using, it was pretty basic and not very good in terms of UI. And I'm like, I can build something better maybe. If I learn how to do that, maybe one day I can go to them and be like, okay, guys, I know everything there is to know about inventory management in your company. I know why it's bad, and here's what I can do. So
Nice. Yeah.
maybe in the future, hopefully, I can be that person.
Nice. And
And
that's bold. It's
that's
bold to say, yeah, let
yeah,
me I'm going to learn it all and then
yeah,
turn around. But so
yeah.
there's a few things I heard there that I want to comment on. The first one is that you were the guy. People
Mhm.
turned to you. They said, "Kevin, you're the
Yeah,
man. You know how to do this tech stuff, this spreadsheets and
yeah,
databases." So you already had that. There was that hint at
yeah.
you had some sort of, and again, I don't want to say talent because you probably wouldn't have recognized it as talent. It was just a skill that you picked up,
Yeah,
right?
I was just thinking, why don't they understand that? Like
Right? Yeah.
for me it's pretty basic and logical. Why don't they understand that? Why don't they recognize? And even in my like around me, like I was always like, oh, I use Excel for this, I use Excel for that. I'm always on there because it helps my life, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why don't you guys recognize that it's such a good tool? And I don't know, it seems like it was just me then.
So these are all skills, and this is something I forget if I've talked about this on my podcast. There's a guy, his name is Alex Hermosi. I have a man crush on this guy. He's an entrepreneur, very successful guy, and he talks about this. I don't know if you want to call it a meta concept or whatever of skills, and someone might say, "Oh, Kevin, you seem like you're a charismatic person," and you might say that someone is just a charismatic person, and they must be born with it. But when you take charisma and you break it down into its individual components, it's like, well, what is charisma? Charisma means you can maintain eye contact with someone and nod your head while you're having a conversation, right? That's one piece of charisma. What else? It's this, and when you put all these things together, it might be 20 things, 40 things, whatever. You then say, oh, this person is charismatic. So for you with Excel, it's the same kind of thing, right? It's you slowly built up maybe these little skills of like, well, what is Excel? What can you even use it for? Once you
Yeah,
understand what to use it for, that's the first skill of what and then, well, what is a row and a column? Or sorry,
exactly.
a row and a column. I gotta make my
It's
hands. I
better.
can't mix. I can see. I'm not a genius either. I mix up rows and columns all the time. So then that's the next step. Once you understand what a row and a column is, and then a cell, and then so it's all these little itty bitty skills that you put together, and that as a whole, it's like, oh, Kevin's a tech guy, right? It's
Yeah.
so yeah, a lot of people, and that's why I'm saying this is a lot of people see themselves as, well, I'm not a tech guy, I'm not a tech girl, I'm not a this or I'm not a that. Well, of course you're not. You probably haven't tried to build a skill around it, right? You haven't tried to, if you consider yourself not a charismatic person, well, probably because you haven't studied it. A lot of people with sleep, it's like, oh, I'm not a good sleeper. Well, have you studied about sleep? Do you know anything about what you can do to become a good sleeper? Like, do you have blackout curtains? Did you know that you should have blackout? Like, so there's all these things that people will just assume, oh, I'm not good at that. It's like, well, of course you're not good at that. You've never ever tried. You need to get
Yeah.
skills and education. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. But
I know,
so what I
but
heard, let's go back to the yeah. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, but
You want
I
to?
was gonna add, I
Yeah.
was gonna add that I think one thing that's very important is curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think you can understand fully the potential of, well, in this case, a software, if you're not a little bit curious about it. And sometimes it's not coming from education. Sometimes it comes from your own curiosity, and you go on Google and you're like, I would love to do that on Excel. Is it possible? You type on Google and now on ChatGPT, right?
Right.
And they're like, of course it's possible. And here's how you can do it. And you're like, oh, wow, cool. And you don't obviously remember it for the next time, but you're going to look for it once, twice, three times. And then you're going to be like, okay, I'm tired of looking it up. Now I know how to do it. It'd be cool if it stayed there. And then boom. And then you do it. And then
That's
people
right.
come to you and they're like, oh, can you do that for me? And can you do this for me? And I
That's
think curiosity is got me into liking tech in general, and that's what keeps me awake every time I look at these videos because I'm curious and I want to go to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one and oh wow, I can do this. And now I'm all about like, oh, when would I do an actual website that shows something there and it's pretty? Because for now it's just the console or it's on like Postman or it's a request or whatever. But now I'm getting finally in the course where you put something on the screen that says welcome and it's not just plain HTML, it comes from somewhere else. And now I'm like, yes,
yes,
I'm
that's the good part.
excited.
Yeah.
Finally.
So that's a good segue. So now we can segue into okay, you're in this coding boot camp now. You know, you had this curiosity in tech, and you
Yeah.
said, you know, maybe I could learn how to code because you know, coding is not just it's not just oh, you can become a programmer and that could be your career. It could also be you know, you could start your own business with it, or you could go to you were in your industry in fashion, identified that there was a problem, right? You said, oh, there's a problem in the industry, the software is not good, maybe I can make it better. And that's a very common path we see for our students who land jobs. They have something called domain knowledge or they're subject matter experts. You've probably heard SMEs, subject matter experts in the boot
Yeah.
camp. You have a subject matter expertise, a deep one around the fashion industry. And if you pair that with technology, that's a pretty unique skill set, right? I assume you're going to be very valuable once you get out the other end of the boot camp. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. So yeah, you join the boot camp, you're in the boot camp, you're going through it. You're starting to actually learn the fun stuff, which is the UI stuff. So let's talk about your experience in there. How has the boot camp been? Has it been the hardest thing you've ever done? Has it been the easiest thing you've ever done? Are you liking it? Are you hating it? I don't know. Tell me everything. What's your experience been like?
Of course, I'm liking it. I mean, great teacher. I'm pretty happy to have your face at the bottom of my screen every day. And
Not tired of me
explaining.
yet?
Yeah, today you had a new haircut, for example. It was pretty fun.
Very good. I love
Yeah.
it.
What was hard, I think that the like foundation, it's hard.
So
Bang your head.
what is the foundation? Talk more about that and what.
So basically, up until assignment 5, it's the part that we call foundation. It's pretty much the basics of Java, of Java.
Yeah. I get
Well,
made fun of all the time because I pronounce it Java and everyone it's Java and I don't say
Java.
Java. Yeah,
Well,
I
you
say
know,
Java because I'm
I
Canadian.
got
But
my accent with me, so
there you
I'm
go.
like
We,
I'm
we all
allowed
have
to.
accents. Yeah.
So yeah, all the basics of Java, how to foundation. How can I explain foundation?
It's hard to explain, but you're
Uh,
right. It's the beginning of real
yeah,
code. It's
I think
like
I'm gonna use Pete's term and do the little hand thing that he does so well. It's the part where you get everything in your muscle memory,
mhm,
and then once it's there, you're able to write and code pretty fast without thinking.
sure.
And it helps so much, this foundation part, to repeat, 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 repeat. I think that's something I have to focus on, like repeating all the time. And even now, I'm repeating again some foundation exercise and assignments because once it's there, I don't think it's like bicycle, right? It doesn't go away, I think. I hope
No,
so.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. The foundations never leave you in
exactly.
my opinion, yeah, for sure.
It's hard, but it's necessary. And you can tell like after you go through all these exercises and you're finally in full stack. And even when you arrive in full stack, you're not in full stack. I'm starting to be full stack
Right.
right
Yeah.
now. I'm
We
just
didn't want to
approaching
break it into
that.
three. We broke
Yeah,
it into
yeah, yeah.
two, but yeah, sure.
No, but it's already good, I think. It's kind of a little cocoon that you're in when you're in foundation. You're in a different group on Slack. You have your own check-ins with foundation students too. So you kind of have like the baby in the womb
Yeah,
and
sure.
waiting to be put out there.
Mhm.
And once you arrive in full stack, everything like unleashes and the check-ins are different. Like people are live coding, they're using terms that you don't know. They're working on an app that's amazing, but you're like, whoa, that's a lot for me for now. But you're picking up some stuff. And that's the good part of going into full stack that early, I think. Even if you don't know everything they're doing during the check-ins, you pick up some stuff. And then when you arrive at that lesson, you're like, oh yeah, I
Now it makes
remember.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's
one thing we found is if you just sit down and watch lessons and go through lessons and that's all you do, it's hard. It's hard to really it's doable. You can do that. And there are some people who can do that, but it gets a little monotonous and it's just a bit tougher to make it out the other end. But when you can see I don't call it the light at the end of the tunnel, but when you start to see like, oh my gosh, these are people in the boot camp and they're building this real thing that looks cool and I don't understand it yet, but maybe I will. Like it's
yeah,
exciting, right? So it has there's excitement to it. There's intimidation. There's probably imposter syndrome or something that comes
yeah,
up. And
yeah.
so
Yeah,
these are
that's big for
all,
me.
yeah, for sure. Of course.
It's always been something big for me, imposter syndrome, and I've done so many things and I work in so many industries that today I have it again. Like, and you found imposter syndrome.
Which is
That's
what?
well, like I'm always like, but I'm not a coder. But yes,
Right.
I am. Like I am. Like I know, like I see some code on screen and I'm like, oh yeah, I understand that now.
Yeah.
So
And do you know how nuts that is?
it's
You
crazy.
probably understand how nuts that is, but like, and I'm sorry for people who are listening if you've heard this a billion times. I went through all of university. I did university, 4 years of university, specifically in computer science, and got out the other end of it and worked at a job for a year that was not a programming job. And I still had never, I didn't even understand that there was something called a full stack app. I didn't understand what that meant, and let alone coded it. I'd never coded a full stack app before. Yeah, I was oblivious to it. I didn't understand, and it's like that's 4 years of education and another year of being on the job, and it was just like anyway. And here's Kevin. He's how many months are you into the boot camp right now?
Not much. It's been like 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
and
five
you
months ago, I didn't know anything.
and 5 months
Like
ago you
I
didn't know anything, right?
had an
And I'm not
interview to I had an interview to join the boot camp, right?
sure, sure.
And like I had so many questions and like what is full stack? Because I'm getting into something that's called full stack. What the hell is full stack?
Right, that's exactly I know exactly right.
And
So
so I
yeah,
got explained, okay, full stack is this and that. But even then I was like,
huh? Yeah,
hey, maybe I don't understand.
yeah. It's
uh,
it's nuts. So
it's crazy
now
how fast it goes.
for those listening, to be where you are at month 5, having pretty much no real coding experience. Like some people come in with a little bit of coding experience, and maybe you could say that because you did a little bit of SQL and I forget, did you ever write any like little scripts or anything? No?
No, just Excel macros.
Just Excel macros, right?
Yeah.
Macros. Yeah, Kevin and I chatted a little bit before I hit the record button, and yeah, macros. Yeah, you didn't really have much knowledge coming into this. And to be where you are now, like, you've gone fast, right? So, and here's the thing. I think when people really want it, when people really see that light at the end of the tunnel and you have that curiosity, like you said,
Yeah.
that helps so much to go fast because you want it. You don't, I'm assuming you don't dread learning new stuff in the, well,
No.
maybe you do, but yeah, I'm assuming you don't dread it, right?
No,
So
not at all. I
yeah,
wake up in the morning, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna see more videos and I'm gonna learn more stuff. It's
that's right.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
fun. So that really, really, really helps, which is why I say, hey, if you are someone listening now and you have some curiosity, great. And if you're thinking about joining a boot camp, okay. But it would be nice to dabble in it a little bit to see, take a free course or take a very low cost course just to see, does this interest me at all? Right? You're going to probably be really confused. And especially, I say this a lot, the first half of the boot camp is harder than the second half. Just like you said, Kevin, the foundations, what we call the foundations of about the first half, is so much harder than the second half. And people don't realize that going into it. So they start in the hardest part and then think, oh my God, if this is this hard, I can't even imagine how hard the next half is going to be. And it's not, it's easier because once you have the foundations, everything else becomes easier. Anyway, if you're someone considering a boot camp, dabble in it a little bit first, do something low. Don't commit to like a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 boot camp right out of the gate unless you're really ambitious. Learn a little bit of code first from some courses, a free course, whatever. You can go to coderscampus.com. We have a free course. You can start there. Yeah, do that first to see, do I look forward to this? Is this something I could wake up and be curious about? That is the signal that I have seen, the pattern for people who are very successful in the boot camp. So anyway, good. I cut you off. So
No,
you
no
were
problem.
talking
No problem.
you were talking full stack. You were talking all the stuff about not knowing anything 5 months ago, and now you're here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to continue on that thought.
As you were saying, like foundation is the beginning and it's the hardest part. But I think you guys, like everybody in the team, you guys are really good at making us understand that this is hard, but it's not gonna last. Once this is finished, then it's fun. It's easy. It's easy, no, but it's
Easier.
easier
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's fun, and you can actually create something out of nothing, basically. So I think what kept me going through foundation was every check-in I attended, I had like Karen or Pete or somebody from the team that would tell me, okay, it's hard, but you have to go through it. And soon enough, you'll realize that it all makes sense. And now it's going to be easier. And I can finally say now it's easier.
It's easier. And now you're on assignment. Which one are you working on right now?
I just submitted 10.
10. Okay,
Yeah.
so
The
11 is that? Oh, I don't even remember my own assignments. Is 11 the bank account one or?
Not sure. I just started the unit, so I haven't looked at the assignment
Oh,
yet.
okay. It
Something
might
that I
be.
usually do is that when I step in a unit, I look at the assignment
Yeah, yeah.
to
Peek at it.
excite me. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is what I'm going to be able to do when I finish this set of videos. So that's pretty cool.
It might be was assignment 10 the restful one where you interacted with
Yes,
an API?
exactly.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah,
11, I forget which one it is, but there's one where it could be 11 or maybe it's 13. Yeah, it could be 13. That's when you're gonna get humbled again. You're gonna say, "Oh, it's easier." And then 13 is particularly tough. And I did that on purpose. I did it because you've made it far enough now that I can really hammer you with a hard one and feel like you're not gonna quit. So
yeah.
yeah, that look forward to 13. So, but
Yeah,
that's
but
cool.
I'm not gonna, brag or whatever, but every time there was an assignment, and I think that's preparation too, like you're mentally prepared, but every time there's an assignment that everyone says, oh, this one is gonna be the hard one.
Mhm.
This one, like assignment
6 was
three,
a
I
hard one. 3 was
three or
tough. Yeah, 3 and 6. Tough for where you
yeah,
are in the journey. Yeah.
three or something, like everybody was like, oh, three, wow, you're gonna struggle and this and that. And every time I did the assignment, I was like, it's over. It
Yeah.
works. And I'm
Good.
like, okay, cool.
Now
Nice.
the other thing I remember about you from our conversation was that you have a fair bit of time and that you can be putting into this, right? So
Yes,
how
absolutely.
many, like most of our students, I would say the vast majority of our students have full-time jobs and maybe families, and so they're doing this sort of part-time on the side. So that could be why you've also been able to go fast. How many hours do you say you put in a given week of actual work, watching the videos or, coding in assignments or attending check-ins?
I think I approached the boot camp just like a full-time job, basically.
Yeah. So
So,
you're putting about 40 hours in a week, you'd say.
well, 35 because we're in France and
Oh, right, right. Sorry, France, right.
but
You
something
guys
like
have
that.
a good,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
35 hours. So okay,
Yeah, probably.
that's not too far removed from well, we recommend about 20 hours a week, right? 20 hours is a good pace. And it's tough. That's a tough pace to keep when you're working full time, let me tell you.
It-
So yeah, 35 hours is definitely advanced. But that's why you've probably been able to make as much progress as you've made. You've gone fast because you've been able to put in the time. So it makes sense. It adds up.
yeah,
So
yeah.
good on you. Awesome. Um, for your if we want to, I might take the conversation to the next step, which is okay. Let's look to the future Kevin.
Yeah.
You're getting through the boot camp. Let's say you get your final project and you've coded out your final project and it gets approved and you've graduated. You've got that. Everyone talks about, I got that certificate, and I'm sorry to burst your bubble. The certificate means nothing. The information in your head is what's valuable. The certificate is useless. It's as useless as my degree that I used to have hanging on my wall. This piece of paper that really did nothing for me. I don't. I hate it. I don't mean to say hate it. I hate that I poop on the university system.
But yet you do every time
I
you
do
speak.
every time. I do. Listen, I'll say it every time again. Best years of my life, being in best years of my life. I had a great social experience. I grew up as a person. It was fantastic for as me being an individual, and I didn't go into debt to do it. But if you're 18 and you don't have to go into massive amounts of debt, yes, I'll never say no to education. Education's great. Just don't go into a 4-year, whatever computer science degree thinking that you're going to get a job out of the gate, because no, you don't. It takes a lot more to get a job out of the gate. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about future Kevin getting the certificate and getting out the door and getting the job. So I'm sure you've seen some stories or heard some stories of people in the boot camp getting jobs. Some people are struggling to get a job, which is it definitely will be a struggle. What's on your mind there? How are you thinking about? Are you even thinking about that part of the journey?
Of course, I'm thinking about it. I have to say, I've like for the people I met during the check-ins that are like at the end of the boot camp, so they submitted their final assignments. For now, I've had good feedbacks because there are people that actually got approached and are almost finding a job. So it was pretty fast for them. So that's good for me because I'm like, maybe this will happen to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm a bit scared because, the market, obviously. I don't know what it's like in France. Like I have an idea.
True.
I've made some research and I see that there are openings around me, but I don't know how it is and how it compares to North America, for example, because I
Mm-hmm.
know in France, employers, they love certificates. They're
Ah,
really attached to certificates and they're really attached to that school or that school and where you come from. So I think I'm gonna have to work twice as hard as people that coming from like a French boot camp that has the stamp of French education or whatever. But I'm not scared about that because I feel that the knowledge and the material also, like all the projects and the repos that I have on my GitHub account, I don't have my final project yet, but everything I'm working on and everything I'm committing and pushing, this will help me a lot. I spoke with a person that I hadn't spoken to in years, that saw on my LinkedIn that I'm currently learning how to become a developer. He came to talk to me and he works in tech. And he's like, "Oh, so welcome to our world." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You didn't know. So I'm doing this, I'm doing that." And he told me that even though I won't have in the future a certificate, a French certificate, what's going to be important is all the projects that I have and everything I've been working on during this bootcamp. So I'm trying as much as possible to work, to push, to record everything that I'm doing, so that I can prove to my future employer during an interview or something that I've been working. I haven't been just like idle and watched videos for hours and hours and hours.
mm-hmm. And
So
that's
that's pretty good. Like it helps me a lot to cope with the way I see the future.
That's right. Now,
Yeah.
okay, I say two things, and I always say two things, and I say the first one and then forget the second one. But the first thing is uh, setting expectations. So this is important for, I'm saying this to you, Kevin, as well as everyone listening who's maybe on the same path. Um, a lot of people will, and I say this based on data from one of our partners. We partner with someone. His name is David Roberts, and he's like an expert at the hiring process. So he was a developer, so he's a programmer for many years. Then he became a technical recruiter for many years, and now he's teaching a course around how to get a job as an entry level developer. So he is like the man when it comes to this conversation. And I've been working with him, and he has surveyed his audience. And the question was, hey, for those of you who are in boot camps, do you believe that it is entirely on the shoulders of the boot camp to get you your job? That was the question he posed. And 50% of the people said yes. The other 50 said no. So he was like, ooh, that's a little worrisome, because if you are going into this with the expectation that the boot camp itself is going to do all of the work for you, you're going to have a bad time. And that's probably why there are so many people who have these stories of, I graduated and then nothing happened. And so you got to set the expectation of, yeah, you're going to still have to do work, right? You still have to, this is not a career path where you graduate, get a certificate, and then everyone's tripping over themselves to hire you, right? So that's not the industry that we're in the coding industry. And the reason for that is it pays ridiculously well, right? If it didn't pay ridiculously well, yeah, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in, which is it's tough to get that first job. Now, after you have the first job, it's much easier. I don't want to get into that. I get hounded and harassed constantly with employers begging me to go on interviews and take jobs. So once you get past that first job, it does become a beautiful situation. But that first job is difficult. So that's the number one expectation. You can't go into it thinking that the bootcamp is going to do everything for you, right? We're going to do everything we can to work with you to make sure that you have all the knowledge you need, you understand the best practices, you present yourself in the best way that you can, right? So we do everything we can to make sure you are better than 95% of the people applying. But we still need you to do the work, right? When it comes to applying to the jobs. And that's the first thing, setting expectation. The second thing I see all the time is that students will, and I don't know why this happens. They don't listen to us. We say, here's how you do it. And this is, I will take responsibility. I need to do a better job. And this is partially me trying to do that job right now with you, Kevin, as well as everyone listening. If your idea of putting in the work for getting a job means going to LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever it is in France, is it Indeed in France? Do you guys use that in France?
Yeah, we have the same. Yeah,
same thing. Okay, I never want to assume. So you go to Indeed and you say, type in Java or full stack, entry level, whatever, and you find the job. Oh, here's a job opening. Here's some, and you click on there and you say apply, and you fill out their form and say submit, and then you go to the next one, and then go apply and fill out the form and submit, and go to the next one. Here's my resume, submit. And like, that is not how you get a job. And the amount of students that when I say that out loud to them and they look at me like, what do you mean that's not how you get a job? I'm applying to the job. What else do you want me to do? And it's like, this is why no one can get a job, because that's not that you don't stand out, right? Everyone talks about standing out. You have to stand out from the crowd, right? People don't understand what standing out means. And they think that standing out means I need to apply to 1,000 jobs, right? And if you apply to 1,000 jobs, yeah, you might get a few interviews out of it, right? That's just a law of the numbers, right? But if you want to do a good job, you have to follow up with these people. You have to have conversations with real human beings in the organization, because it's human beings that are going to be hiring you or making decisions to hire you. So you have to, and then, well, how do I talk to a human being? Engage your brain. What are the ways that you can do to actually speak with a human being, right? And this is, and I say engage your brain as I mean it. Engage your brain. Let's think outside the box here. How can we have conversations with real people? And that's just what a lot of I'm gonna call them aspiring coders, people with coding degrees or certificates. That's what they struggle with. Is this is called marketing, right? So you have to market yourself and sell yourself. Programmers don't have that. We're never trained to be marketers and salespeople. We do tech. We don't want to talk to people. We want to talk to computers. So okay, I'll get off my soapbox. So you need to understand that you need to be able to speak with human beings to follow up. And what does follow up mean? I say this inside the bootcamp. I say submit your application on day 1. On day 2, send a message. Hey, I sent in an application. Try to stand out with your messaging. Try to say, I'm my name's Kevin and here's why I'm awesome, right? So if you're applying to in the fashion industry, you can say, look, I've worked in the fashion industry for 10 years. I understand how all of this stuff works, from this to this, from step 1 to step done, how it all happens, right? And I know where the inefficiencies are in the systems, and I've seen it, and I know how to fix them now. Like if you said that, even if that was just a copy pasted message to all, and you applied to all these different fashion industry jobs for specifically for tech, you would stand out, right? Because you'd be able. So the hardest part is, who do I tell this to? Who's the person I contact, or who are the people I contact to say, my name is Kevin and I am awesome because XYZ, right? I've worked in the fashion industry. Use whatever is unique to you, and then you follow up. That's your first follow up on day 2. On day 4, you follow up again. On day 7, so you leave a little bit more time in between each follow up. You leave 1 day and then 2 days in between, and then 3 days, because you don't want to follow up every day. I think it becomes annoying.
Obviously.
But if you slowly increase the number of days between when you reach out, and just do that forever until they either say, no, please stop talking to us, please stop, whatever. That's when you say, okay, I'm going to stop talking to you. But if they say no and that's it, then you say, well, don't give up there. Why no? Right? They might say, well, because, and they might give a reason. You might be able to say, well, actually, I can counter that. That's called an objection, right? This is sales. They have an objection as to why, and you can probably counter that objection. Say, well, they might say, oh, we don't have any positions open right now for that job. And it's like, well, that's okay. I got time. Do you know when will a position open up? And again, because I'm awesome. So that's sort of the approach you need to do. And people just don't do this. People don't follow up, right? All the students that I've talked to who've had trouble getting jobs, I swear to you, all of them do the same thing. They apply, and then they apply, and then they apply, and they apply, and that's all they do. Okay? The ones who get the jobs, right? Let me think. Shri, Hayden, who was it that just Tony? Who else
Jeff.
recently? I'm trying to think. Karen. Karen. We hired Karen, so Karen's a bit of an anomaly. I forget all the other names of the people right now off the top of my head who've recently gotten jobs. They followed up. Imagine that. So anyway, okay, I need to calm down. So so for you, Kevin, that's your consider yourself. Your expectations have now been set. I expect you to follow up when you apply to jobs. And if you have troubles understanding how to do that, reach out. I can teach you that. David Roberts is the man to teach you that. So yeah, those are your expectations.
I need to reach out to David, because
absolutely. David is
a
lot of people come to me and they send me messages, and that's fine, but I'm not an expert at this, right? This is not what I've done. Like, I'm not the one receiving all of these applications. David Roberts receives the applications. He knows what they look. He knows what a good one looks like, what a bad one looks like. He knows the tips and tricks, what does stand out, what doesn't. Like, he's lived it and breathed it, right? I haven't. I'm just pulling from him and his data. So David's the man. So yeah, that's what you can expect for the job, process, the job search process. Questions about that? I don't know. I didn't mean to get so deep into this, but
no, I think I'm gonna have to reach out to David, and it wouldn't hurt for me to have a contact in recruiting in France, because that might work differently.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I just remembered the other thing. This was the main thing I wanted. This was actually my number 2. My number 2 is, you just said you had a friend who reached out to you that who's in the industry.
Yeah.
How close of a friend is this person?
Well, it's a friend of a friend that I used to, know a long time ago.
That's okay.
But he works in tech, and he already told me, like, if you're looking for an internship,
there we go. Yeah,
I might be able to help you out.
Beautiful.
For a full-time position, I don't know, but if you're looking for an internship, I might be able to help you out. So it's already a start for me. It's already great.
That's like, and that is how.
Anything.
You didn't do anything. Sorry. Yeah, you did.
I posted.
Posted on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Stuff about the bootcamp on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
which is already.
That's something that David teaches. David talks about. And so what is that? So when you post on LinkedIn, so if people don't know what we're talking about, what David Roberts teaches in our course is to post about your progress as you're going through the bootcamp. So post a message on LinkedIn with screenshots of your code, talk about your code, talk about what's frustrating about it, talk about what you've learned, any aha, whatever. Just pretend like you are you're talking to a friend who knows nothing about coding or something, like you're talking about to a friend about your journey, and you're really excited to just geek out about this stuff, right? Put that out on LinkedIn, because what that is called, ladies and gentlemen, is marketing.
Yeah.
That's what marketing is. You're sending a message to many people. It's a one to many. That's a common thing in programming, a one to many relationship.
Yeah.
Marketing is sending a message out to many people all at once. And a
Yeah.
great and free and easy way to do that is LinkedIn, right? And look at that. You've already got someone, you've hooked someone with your marketing that can potentially be an amazing contact to actually get you a job. So this person, for sure, Kevin, don't lose that person. That person is
No,
gold.
I won't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
won't.
yeah, yeah. So
I won't, and I
beautiful.
hope to gain more people like that too,
That's right. And
because
you don't need that many
that's
of them.
that's two LinkedIn posts I've done only. So
Oh, well, get on
maybe
it, dude. What are you doing?
third, the fourth, the fifth, maybe, I'll get someone else that I haven't spoken to
Yeah.
in years, and we'll be there. Hopefully I'll get a job right after the bootcamp.
That is entirely possible, because a lot of
Yeah.
people, that's what happens. Like I think Old John, that's what happened with him. Have you seen Old John yet?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He teaches him.
absolutely. Yeah.
Old John was a student, and we hired him. We hire all of I should say all of our students. We hire a lot of our students who show a lot of passion, and anyway, he had a friend, an acquaintance who he happened to know, and he had a conversation with them, and they're like, oh, I might know of and one thing led to another. Now he's got a job, and like it's just one person, one contact, one conversation like that. He has a job, right?
So
So
important.
so important, right? And
I hadn't been updating my LinkedIn account for years, and I hadn't been on LinkedIn for years. I hadn't spoken to anyone on
yeah,
LinkedIn for years. But um, in that boot camp, you're like, okay, why am I doing this? I'm doing this to find a job in the end, right? It's not just for fun. It's fun, but it's to find a job.
that's right.
So
It's marketing, baby, and
yeah,
programmers don't know how to market,
exactly.
and that's what we help to
Exactly.
teach you.
So I thought maybe I should revive my LinkedIn and update it, and I still haven't spoken to David yet.
Oh yeah,
But
he's a fire hose of info.
exactly,
You're
yeah.
gonna learn a lot, and he's gonna
But
tear
I
your stuff
looked,
apart. So
yeah, I looked at other students' LinkedIn, and I copied a few stuff from here
beautiful,
there, translated into French because I need both languages
right?
on there. We never know. I might have a job in North America, like now you can do remote, so we never know.
It's entirely possible. Yeah,
We
absolutely. And
never
that's
know.
what, like, that's the beauty of this, right? Is have you ever used a site like Upwork?
No, never.
Upwork. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to get into Upwork, but there's so many opportunities for you leveraging your skills as a programmer now, these newfound skills as a programmer to work, get experience, get paid, and build your career from, right? There's so many ways that you can do it. And all that ultimately matters at the end of the day is that you don't stop coding.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will graduate from the boot camp and they stop coding altogether and switch completely into job search mode. And
Yeah.
some people, it takes them 6 months because, like I said, they just apply, and it could take 6 months, 12 months if you're doing it that way, right? And they stop coding, and then they get an interview on month 8, and it's like, oh no, I've forgotten everything about code. And it's like, no, like you have to. So yeah, don't fall into that trap either.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot
but
of.
that's the cool stuff because I mean, I will still have access to my courses, I guess. I still have all my projects on my computer, and
Yep.
I guess like what I was thinking, because I'm curious, right? I could take some of the first assignments with basic Java things and make them look prettier with HTML, for example, and
Sure.
implement them to a real app. Like, for example, we have an assignment about a little game of find a random number
Mhm.
between 1 and 300 or whatever. Like, how cool would it be to make an app out of it and make a web app out of it? And,
Sure.
and I think that's what I'm going to try to do after
Love
I
it.
finish. I'm going to try to keep sharp and, and redo some of the exercises and maybe make them better.
I
That
love
could
it.
be nice. Yeah.
I like totally, exactly.
Yeah.
So the more full stack practice you can get, right? Just have a front end, have your back end, have a database, and connect them all together. Even if it's a silly little app, if you have an app idea that has 2 or 3 database tables, even like that's great. Just keep doing that because that's what the real world is, right? It's not 3 tables. it starts maybe as 3 tables and turns into 100, but that's what we do in the real world, right? You'd be shocked at the number of students who get jobs and then they reach out to me and they say, "Oh my gosh, like I just got my first work assignment, and this is just like assignment 11 or assignment 13
Nice.
or assignment 6 or and it's like I know, I know,
Nice.
I worked in the real world for 15 years. I know what happens. I've worked for companies tiny and gigantic, right? So I know what it looks like, and they're always shocked, and it's like, did you not trust that I was not like you gotta trust me, boy? Like, yeah, I know what to teach you guys. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So let's start, wrapping up. So is there anything else? Is there anything we haven't touched on that you want to talk about? Is there anything I don't know, any tips or thoughts that you could give to people who were like Kevin 5 months ago, who might be doubting themselves? I don't know. Like, yeah, is there anything else you wanted to chat about before we sign off?
No, I think like maybe try to have a conversation with someone that is a coder. Try to reach out to someone, even if you don't know anybody around you. There's ways of reaching out to people that code. Just talk to them and see if that's something you would like to do. Simply, like that's what I did. I spoke to someone. Okay, I know there's this job, it's called coding or
Hmm.
developing, or um, am I gonna like it? And I spoke to this someone and they were like, okay, like I like it because of this, because of that, because of that. That looks like something I would enjoy as well. Let's go.
There you
Let's
go.
go. Yeah.
Good advice.
And
Yeah,
here I am, and I'm enjoying myself every day.
exactly. That's, oh my gosh, like when you get, and again, I say this all the time, but it's so true. When you get paid to code and you like to code and you enjoy learning new things, it's like, I say this, and I'm sorry, it feels like cheating. It feels like cheating at life,
Yeah.
because not only are you're getting paid well to do
Yeah.
something that is enjoyable. And now there's always aspects to a programming job that is awful, right? There's deadlines, and then there's time crunches, and you have to deal with a lot of people sometimes that are going to be annoying to deal with. Every job has its downsides, but for the vast majority of the time, you get to like solve problems and create stuff that didn't exist before, and it is just fun. And
Yeah.
the fact that you get to be paid to do this is, oh, it's, and it feels fulfilling too. Like when creating something from nothing is very fulfilling. So anyway, so good advice. Reach out to someone else who is a coder and pick their brain and say, hey, do you think I'm cut out to code? Do you think I'm coding material? And hopefully they'll be good enough to ask the right questions and see if it's something that you'd be interested in.
Exactly.
Or like I said, or just sign up for a free course and try it, and just know that it's going to be
Yeah.
hard. It's going to
Yeah.
be, you're going to probably feel completely lost, and that's
At least
just,
in the first, at least in the first like 3, 4 months.
yeah, three,
At
four
least.
months. I mean, that's a long time to feel
Yeah.
lost for 3 or 4 months. You like,
Yeah.
that must be terrifying. Like,
Yeah. And it's the same as learning anything. Like when you learn
right,
how to ride a bike in the beginning, it's hard. You fell, you fall, it's not easy. You're like, what the hell am I doing on this bike?
right,
Uh,
yeah,
why
or
what am I doing there? And it's hard, but once you get it, you're not even thinking about it.
that's
You're like,
right.
okay, I ride a bike.
Every new skill is hard. Like if we were
Yeah.
teaching a course on how to, I don't know, be a money manager at a bank or something, or like be a mortgage broker, or like, I don't know anything about that. Like, I'm sure I'd be lost too with all these words, and like, I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on, but it's a matter of sticking to it. So that's why if you have an underlying curiosity, like you said, that is a good signal, that will allow you to make it through to the other side, right? And
Yeah, exactly.
so yeah, that's what we look for when you're going through the onboarding process in our boot camp. When you're first starting the process, you have an initial phone call with someone, and they get an idea of, are you cut out to do this? And I forget, I don't know if you had this experience, but I try to tell my sales team, which they hate this. I tell my sales team to terrify the people who are coming in and showing interest in joining the boot camp. I don't know if that was your experience or not, but I tell them to say, like, this is going to be hard,
Mm.
right? This is not something that will be easy. It's going to feel hard. And if you're someone who gives up easily, don't even bother. I don't know if they said that to you. I don't know. Did you have that experience going through that whole
Yeah,
process?
kind of. Yeah.
Kind of. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can
So,
say now, because I've gone through the hard parts, that it's hard, but you're not alone. That's
right.
the cool part of our bootcamp, is that you're not alone. There's a lot of people with you. If you have any doubts or any blockage or whatever, like there's always someone that you can reach out to.
Mhm.
And that's the cool part of it.
Yeah.
That's very, very important.
And you have to do the reaching out as well. I've been doing this a long time. I've been teaching people how to code since 2012. It's 2024. So I've seen all the mistakes that people make. And oftentimes people make the mistake of not reaching out, not asking for help, assuming that we are going to be able to read their minds, right? And people don't advocate for themselves. And it's like, it's a huge mistake. Because if you just put your hand up and said, I'm struggling, right? We try to reach out. We try to say, hey, how's it going? But if you just say, good, it's going good, and it's not going good, then we can't read your mind, right? We're not going to know. So you have to leverage the community. You have to leverage the instructors and the student success representatives. Like, we have Karen's on staff right now doing that. She might not be with us forever because eventually we want her to go out and get a job as a coder. But yeah, when we lose her, we're going to be sad, but we want her to, it's going to be bittersweet when she goes, or whoever the next success representative is, right? She or
Maybe
he
me.
will be there, or maybe it's Kevin, who knows, will be there to help you and to guide you into, it's like it's almost like your own little personal therapist inside of the boot camp. So yeah, reach out, ask for the help when you need it, because if you don't, then of course you're not going to get the help that you need. So you have to be able to advocate for yourself, which is something I struggle with whenever I'm in a course or a thing. I struggle to put my hand up and say, hey, I need help. I need, so I don't know if that's the Canadian in me, but anyway, cool.
Yeah, but the check-ins are good for that, because
yeah,
you're going to check in, you have one time to speak. Like, it's Kevin, what's up with you? And then you have to say, oh, well, I have a blockage there
right.
and I'm struggling with that. So the time is there for you to do that, I
That's
think.
right. And if you just say, "Oh, I'm good, all is good," then yeah, we're not going to reach your mind. So you gotta speak up.
Yeah.
So cool. So if let's say someone is on the fence, maybe they don't know who to talk to in terms of, am I cut out to be a coder or not? Should they reach out and talk to Kevin? Would you? I don't know would you be someone?
Sorry, yeah, I lost
So
you there. Sorry.
I was saying if someone is on the fence, if someone is like you 5 months ago and they want someone to talk to and to say, should I be a coder? Could they reach out to you? Should we give them your contact info or your LinkedIn?
Absolutely.
Or something? Yeah,
absolutely.
You can have that conversation. I don't know, right?
I'd be so happy to do that. Yeah,
Sweet.
really.
Okay. I didn't intend for this to happen, but I think that would be fun, right? So
really
yeah, maybe you can reach out to Kevin and we'll put, I don't know, maybe you'll put your, I guess we do this sometimes. You put the LinkedIn profile info so they can connect with you on LinkedIn and they can send you a message and say,
absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Maybe we'll do that. And that way you can talk to Kevin and say, I'm having doubts. Let me know. So yeah, cool. Let's do that. So yeah, we'll have show notes. And I should have known what episode this is going to be. Usually I have a link. I say, go to coderscampus.com / and then the number of the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be 60 or 61 at this point. Sorry, guys. I should have known that. But you go to the coderscampus.com, go down. There's a learning center at the bottom. Click there, and I'm sure you'll see Kevin's face somewhere. So that's how you can find the show notes and the link to his profile. Or just, I was going to say, you can search him on LinkedIn, but I don't know if people will know how to spell your last name. How do you spell your last name?
GALLACCIO.
And how do you pronounce that?
Galaccio.
Galazio. That's the Italian. So, Kevin Galazio. Hopefully you're the only Kevin Galazio in France. So okay.
Oh yeah, in the world, I think.
Sorry?
I think in the world, actually.
Oh, in the world. There you go. Just search them there and you'll find them. So you'll see a smiling face on LinkedIn. Cool. Anything else before we wrap up? I think this has been pretty good. I hope people will have gotten a lot of value from the conversation.
Hope so too.
Yeah, if there's nothing else, we can part ways. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on here and for talking about your experience. And I can't wait to hopefully have a follow-up where it's like, oh my God, Kevin has a job. He got it through that guy that he talked to. That'll be fun. So we'll have to have you back.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Cool. All right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah. See ya.